Chaathurmaasya Sathsangamam Season 3 Acharya Vaibhavam Audio Book. This audio is based on Acharya Vaibhavam book written by Sri Purisai Swami and published in Sri Nrasimha Priya. Both Tamil and English audio books are read and presented by SARAN Sevaks. You can listen to this audiobook in Tamil in Sri APNSwami's YouTube channel.
प्रपद्ये निरवद्यानां निषद्यां गुणसम्पदां शरणं भवभीतानां षठकोपमुनीश्वरम्. நண்பர்களே, சாதுர்மாசிய சத்சங்கமம் சீசன் 3 அதுல ஆச்சாரிய வைபவம் என்பதாக அழகிய சிங்கர்களுடைய திருக்கல்யாண குணங்களை ஒரு ஆடியோ புக்ஸா ரிலீஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். நேற்றைய தினம் நீங்க எல்லாரும் ரொம்ப ரசிச்சு என்ஜாய் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. நிறைய பேர் பர்சனலா கூட நமக்கு மெசேஜஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கீங்க. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. ஸோ சரண் சேவகர்களுடைய இந்த முயற்சிக்கு உங்க எல்லாருடைய ஆதரவு இருக்குன்றது ரொம்பவே ஆனந்தத்தை கொடுக்கக்கூடியதா இருக்கு. இன்னைக்கு ஆதிமன் சுவாமி வைபவம் பார்ட் 2 இன்னைக்கு 2வது பாகம் ஆரம்பமாகும். நேற்றைய ஒரு ஆடியோவில் நாம என்ன கேட்டோம்னு சொன்னா, ஸ்ரீனிவாசாச்சாரியன் மேல்கோட்டையில அவதாரம் பண்ணி, அதாவது குறிப்பா ஸ்ரீனிவாசனுடையதான விசேஷமான அந்த கருட சேவை அன்னைக்கு அவதாரம் பண்ணி, அதனாலேயே ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் தாத்தாவுடைய பேரு அந்த ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் திருநாமத்தோட தன்னுடைய தகப்பனார் இடத்துல பஞ்சசம்ஸ்காரம்ன்றதாக சமாஷனம் பெற்று, அதுக்கப்புறம் கடிகாசலம் சின்ன அம்மான்னு சொல்லக்கூடிய வாத்சவரதவர்கிட்ட வந்து அவரை சேவிச்சு அவருடைய அனுகிரகத்தினால கிரந்த சதுர்த்தய காலக்ஷேபம் பண்ணி, பிறகு நிருசிம்மருடைய ஒரு நியமனத்தினால இங்க அஹோபில கஷேத்திரத்துக்கு வந்து சன்னியாசம் பெற்றார் அப்படின்றதான ஒரு அற்புதமான ஒரு கூஸ் பம்ப்ஸ் ஹாரிபுரேஷன் சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, மயிர் கூச்சரியக்கூடியதான ஒரு சம்பவம். உங்களுக்கே அது ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருக்கு, ஒரு மாடுலேஷனோட ஒரு அழகா அதை பத்தி சொல்லும் பொழுது படிக்கச்சே நமக்கு ஏற்படாத உணர்வு இன்னொருத்தர் படிச்சு அதனுடைய அற்புதமான அனுபவங்களை கொடுக்கும்போது நமக்கு ஏற்படுறது இல்லையா. அதுவும் இந்த ஆதிமன் கோபசுவாமி தனி என்னுடைய பெருமையா அற்புதமா இருக்கு. பிரபத்யே நிரவத்யானாம் நிஷத்யாம் குணசம்பதாம் சரணம் பவபீதானாம் ஷடகோப முனீஸ்வரம் என்பது ஆதிமன் கோபசுவாமியுடைய தனி. அந்த ஒரு சிறப்பு செய்தி என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டா, ஆதிமன் கோபசுவாமியுடைய இந்த தனியம் யாரால் இயற்றப்பட்டது என்றால் அவருடைய ஆச்சாரியன் கடிகாசுரம் அம்மாளால் இயற்றப்பட்டது என்பது தெரியும். சிஷ்யருக்காக ஆச்சாரியன் தனியன் செய்வாரா என்றால் தனியன் ஏற்றப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. சமீப காலத்தில் கூட உத்தமூர் சுவாமியுடைய தனியன் அவருடைய ஆச்சாரியன் கோழியாரம் சுவாமியால் இயற்றப்பட்டது என்பதை நாம் பிரத்யட்சமாக பார்க்கிறோம். அற்புதம் விக்ராந்தம் என்னும் தனியன் உத்தமூர் சுவாமியுடைய தனியன். அப்ப கடிகாசுரம் அம்மாள் தன்னுடைய சிஷ்யனான ஸ்ரீனிவாசாச்சாரியர் என்னும் ஆதிமன் கோபசுவாமி விஷயமா இந்த தனியன் அருளி செய்தார். இந்த தனியனுக்கு தனிப்பெருமைகள் அதிகம் உண்டு. இந்த தனியனுக்கு பலவிதமான அற்புதமான பெருமைகள் இருக்கு. குறிப்பா ஒரு விஷயம் பாருங்க, பிரபத்யேதம் கிரிம் பிராயா என்று சுவாமி தேசிகன் திருவேங்கட மாமலையை வர்ணிக்கும் பொழுது பிரபத்யே என்று முதலில் ஆரம்பிக்கிறார். அதற்கு முன்பாக ஸ்ருத பிரகாஷிகாச்சாரியர் சுதர்சன சூரி ஸ்ரீபாஷ்யத்திற்கு தான் எழுதியிருக்கக்கூடிய வியாக்கியானமான ஸ்ருத பிரகாஷிகையில் ஸ்ரீபாஷ்யத்தை ஸ்தோத்திரம் செய்யும் பொழுது பிரபத்யே பிரணவாகாரம் பாஷ்யம் என்று கொண்டாடுகிறார். ஸ்ரீ வைஷ்ணவர்களான நமக்கு எப்பொழுதுமே இந்த பஞ்சசம்ஸ்காரம் எனப்படக்கூடிய சமாசிரமணம் செய்து வைக்கப்பட்ட பிறகு நம்முடைய ஆச்சாரியர்கள் மந்திரத்ரயம் உபதேசம் செய்வார்கள். ரகசியத்ரயம் என்று அதற்கு பெயர். திருமந்திரம், துவயம், சரமஸ்லோகம் இந்த 3 மந்திரங்களை நமக்கு உபதேசம் பண்றோம். அதுல துவய மந்திரம் என்பது சரணாகதி மந்திரம். அந்த சரணாகதி மந்திரத்தை சொல்லி நாம் பகவானுடைய திருவடியில் சரணமாக அவனை அடைகிறோம். அதுல சரணமாக அடைதல் என்பது பிரபத்யே என்பதாக காண்பிக்கப்படுகிறது. பிரபத்யே என்றால் அர்த்தம் நான் உன்னை சரணமாக அடைகிறேன் என்பது பொருள். இந்த அடைதல் என்பது பகவானிடத்தில் சரணமடையக்கூடியதான மந்திரத்தில் அடைகிறேன் என்பது கடைசியில் தான் சொல்லப்படுகிறது. ஆனால் ஸ்ரீபாஷ்யத்தின் பெருமையை சொல்லும் பொழுது, திருவேங்கட மாமலையின் பெருமையை சொல்லும் பொழுது, ஆதிமன் கோபசுவாமியினுடைய பெருமையை சொல்லும் பொழுது முதலில் அடைகிறேன் உன்னை என்று ஒரு ஆதரவுடன் அந்த அடைதல் காண்பிக்கப்படுகிறது. எவ்வளவு மேன்மையான விஷயம்! ஆச்சாரியனுடைய வைபவம் எவ்வளவு உண்மையாக மேன்மையாக அற்புதமாக விளங்குகிறது என்பதை பார்க்கிறோம் அல்லவா. இந்த தனியனுக்கு என்று தனிப்பெரும் பெருமைகள் பல உண்டு. அவற்றை அடுத்த தொடரில் நாம் பார்க்கலாம். இதற்கு சுருக்கமான அர்த்தம் என்றால் என்ன என்றால், அள்ள அள்ள குறையாத மிக பெரும் வள்ளலாக திகழக்கூடிய வள்ளல் தன்மை உடையவராக. ஏனென்றால் இதனுடைய விரிவான அர்த்தங்கள் அடியனால் ஸ்ரீமுகத்தின் சீர்மை, தனியனின் தனிப்பெருமை முதலான நூல்களில் விரிவாக விரித்துரைக்கப்பட்டிருக்கின்றன. அவற்றையெல்லாம் நீங்கள் APNSwami WordPress.com என்னும் அந்த தளத்திற்கு சென்று இலவசமாக அந்த நூல்களை எல்லாம் படிக்கலாம். சமஸ்தவிதமான குணங்கள் விளங்கக்கூடியவர், குற்றமற்றவர், மிகச்சிறப்பான பெருமைகளை உடையவர், சம்சாரத்தில் பயந்தவர்களுக்கு அடைக்கலமாக விளங்கக்கூடியவர். அப்பேற்பட்டதான அந்த ஆதிவன் கோபசுவாமியை நான் சரணமாக அடைகிறேன். பிரபத்யே நிரவத்யானாம் நிஷத்யாம் குணசம்பரம், எல்லா குணங்களும் சேர்ந்து இருக்கக்கூடியது. பவபீதானாம் சரணம், சம்சாரத்தில் பயந்தவர்களுக்கு சரணமாய் விளங்கக்கூடிய ஷடகோப முனிவரான ஆதிவன் கோபசுவாமியை நான் என்றும் சேவிக்கிறேன் என்று 74 சிம்ஹாசனாதிபதிகளும் இவரை வந்து அடைந்த பெருமை பெற்றவர். ஸ்ரீபாஷ்யகாரர் சுவாமி தேசிகனுடைய சம்பிரதாயத்தின் துரந்தராக விளங்கக்கூடியவர். ஸ்ரீபாஷ்யகாருடைய சம்பிரதாயத்தில் அனைவருக்கும் ஸ்ரீபாஷ்ய காலக்ஷேப சமயத்தில் ஆச்சாரியனாக திகழும் பெருமகனார் ஆதிவன் கோபசுவாமியை நாமும் பிரபத்யே என்று பற்றி அவருடைய பெருமைகளை கொண்டாடலாம். இனி இன்றைய தினத்தின் 2வது பதிவு உங்களுக்கு.
சத்விஷயங்கள் படிப்பதில் ஆர்வம் கொண்டவரா?
புராண கதைகள் தொடங்கி புனைவு வரை
படிக்கும் பொழுதே காட்சியை நம் மனக்கண் முன் நிறுத்தும் அசாத்திய நடையில்
ஸ்ரீ APNSwami எழுதியிருக்கும் எண்ணற்ற புத்தகங்கள்
இபுக் வடிவில் APNSwami.wordpress.com என்ற வெப்சைட்டில் உள்ளன.
முற்றிலும் இலவசமாக டவுன்லோட் செய்ய நீங்கள் செல்ல வேண்டிய வெப்சைட் APNSwami.wordpress.com.
Acharya Vaibhavam, First Pontiff Srimadh Azhagiya Singar, Sri Adivan Shatagopaswami Vaibhavam. Part 2. Audio by SARAN Sevaks Shriman Parthasarathi.
Keshavari Kripapatram Thaniyan. Nammalvar directed all to recite the Thaniyan for Jiya, Keshavari Kripapatram, before the Divya Prabandham Seva Kalam and followed by Thaniyans of Purvacharyas. The disciples were overjoyed and adhered to the direction of the Alvar. The Sishyas were saying that reciting the Thaniyan first, Keshavari Kripapatram, on the direction of Alvar and followed by the Thaniyan of Swami Deshikan, Ramanuja Dayapatram, will not be against the divine command of Sri Ranganathan. They further said that in Srirangam some time back, Swami Deshikan won a debate over the debaters of other religion, and also he was instrumental in reviving the recital of Divya Prabandham in Sri Ranganathan Sannidhi. In recognition of these services by Swami Deshikan and on the command of Sri Ranganathan, the Thaniyan Ramanuja Dayapatram is being recited at temples and homes. They all decided that henceforth, as per the direction of Alvar, the Thaniyan of Jiya will be recited first. This tradition of reciting first Keshavari Kripapatram is being followed at Sri Ahobila Matam, Sri Sannidhi, and at the homes of disciples of Ahobila Matam. About this, Bhagavatas may refer to the Grantham Patya Pradhamya Vadam. Alvar entrusted the entire administration of his temple to the Jiya and directed the temple officials to offer the Jiya the first Tirtham, first honor, etc., and to hand over the entire set of keys of the temples. Alvar, blessing the Jiya, told him, "O Jiya, from now on you may append your signature as Sri Shatakopa Sri. Hereafter, conduct Grantha Kalakshepams to your Sishyas and expound and grow the Visishtadvaita philosophy." Srimad Adivan Shatakopa Jiya took leave of Alvar and returned to his matam. He prostrated in front of Sri Lakshmanasimhan several times and placed the Hamsa Mudra that was presented to him graciously by Alvar at the holy feet of Sri Lakshmanasimhan. He narrated the blessings of Alvar. Sri Lakshmanasimhan showered his divine grace on Jiya and gave him the Hamsa Mudra, saying, "You will be presiding over 74 Simhasanadipatis appointed by Emperor Manar. As per my wish, you go on extensive sancharam for the upliftment of the people who have sought your refuge." Thorapa becomes disciple. The king of Karnataka was deeply devoted to the Jiya and was worshipping him with utmost faith. Srimad Adivan Shadakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan was doing Upadeshams to his Sishyas on Sribhashyam and other Granthams. On seeing and hearing the style in which this Mahadeshikan was conducting the Kalakshepams, the erudite scholars there were telling amongst themselves that the Jiyar is the second incarnation of Vyasa Maharishi, another Sukha Maharishi, another Pundarikar, another Bhakta Prahladan, a great tapasvi, mastery over Tarka, which is logic, Vyakaranam, the grammar, Mimamsa Granthams, Samanya Sastras, Ubhaya Vedantas, and that he is no match to anyone and is a Sarva Tantra, Vedamarga Pratishthapana that is presiding as the master of all subjects and establishing and propagating the ultimately superior path of Veda. Thorappa, a learned scholar of repute from Manapakam, sought refuge at the feet of Srimad Adivan Shadakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan, a most famous and of a great reputation. Thorappa had his Panchasamskaram performed by the Jiya. He underwent the Grantha Chatushtaya Kalakshepam of Sribhashyam, Gita Bhashyam, Bhagavat Vishayam, and Srimad Rahasya Trayasaram. Noticing the scholarly intellect and the unfettered devotion to Acharya, Sri Shadakopa Jiyar encouraged him and directed him to create a few Grantha on Dharma Shastras, which can be easily understood by all Sri Vaishnavas and able to practice. Accordingly, Thorappa created 8 Granthams, namely Grihyaratnam, Kantapushanam, Smrutiratnakaram, Pitrumedasaram, Sutivilochanam, which is a commentary on Pitrumedasaram, Dasanirnayam, Ashausha Satakam, Ashausha Nirnayam. He presented them at the Sannidhi of the Jiya and prostrated in front of him. The Jiyar asked Thorappa to read it in the Goshti. After having listened to the presentation, Jiyar was very happy and blessed Thorappa, saying that he will be the Vaidika Sarvabhauma. From that day onwards, Thorappa was known as Vaidika Sarvabhauma. Alagi Singar went on Sancharam to Tirukudandai, Srirangam, Alvar Tirunagari, and other Divya Deshams, along with hundreds of his learned disciples, and was offering Mangala Shasanam of the Emperormans. He was also performing Panchasamskaram, Sharanagadi to those who sought refuge under his holy feet. He went on Sancharam to Tirunarayanapuram. There, he had his holy bath in Kalyani Pushkarani, completed his daily rituals, and proceeded to the temple. After his Mangala Shasanam of Ithirajar, Tirunarayanan, and Eduguri Nachiyar, he went to his madam on the banks of Kalyani Pushkarani. He stayed there for a few days, conducting Kalakshepams daily on Sribhashyam and other Granthams. Blessings of Imperumanar. One day, when the Sribhashya Kalakshepam was going on, a 5-headed serpent came close to the Jiya and was spreading its 5 hoods and was listening peacefully to the Sribhashya Kalakshepam. Srimad Adivan Shadakopa Swami noticed this but continued with the Kalakshepam. At one stage of the completion of the Kalakshepam, he told his disciples that this is quite surprising and peculiar. It is neither afraid of us nor it is threatening us. It is listening intensively by moving its gem-studded hoods. The Jiya said he did not think that this serpent is an ordinary one. It is Emperumanar himself, who is the incarnation of Adiseshan, listening to the finer aspects of the meanings of Sribhashyam created by him. It seems it is here to bless all. The Jiya thus recited a slokam from Ithiraja Saptati.
प्रणामं लक्ष्मणमुनिः प्रतिगृह्णातु मामकं प्रसारयति यत्सूक्तिः स्वाधीनपथिकां श्रुतिम्.
Immediately, the serpent vanished into thin air. Seeing this wonderful spectacle, the disciples were awestruck. Gopura Kainkaryam. That night, Emperor Manar appeared in the dream of Swami and showered praise on the style by which Sribhashya Kalakshepam was conducted that morning. Further, he told the Jiya, "You can undertake a significant Kainkaryam for Tirunarayanan Sannidhi. In this Divya Desham, a Vijayasthanam of ours, establish a Sannidhi for our Vedanta Desikam and consecrate the Vigraham of him in that Sannidhi." On waking up, Swami sent the local residents to request the elderly citizens of the town to come to his matam. When they all came to the matam, he told them about his dream with tearful emotion of happiness. He asked them to let him know as to what is the utmost important Kainkaryam to be performed by him in this Divya Desham. The Jiya said that he is prepared to get them done. The elderly residents of the Divya Desham said, "There is nothing unknown to the Swami," that is Jiya. Even then, as desired by Swami, they said, "We would like to appeal." The main Gopuram, the tower of the temple of Tirunarayanan, is in a dilapidated condition and it needs to be renovated. Thus, they prayed to Swami. He assured them to do so accordingly and sent them off. Swami was contemplating as to how and through whom the construction of the temple tower Kainkaryam can be completed. At that time, the king of Karnataka approached him to offer his obeisance. The king prostrated at the holy feet of Swami, who inquired about his well-being. The king replied, "I am afflicted with a dreadful disease." Swami, being a Bhavaroga Bishak, a physician to cure even hereditary diseases, is the only recourse to get rid of my ailment and to make me healthy again. I have come here only to seek the blessings of Swami. He prayed to Swami. Hearing this, Srimad AbhimaN told him, "Your disease will be cured soon. Don't be scared. You don't have to take any medicines. The main temple tower of Tirunarayanan is in a dilapidated state. This has to be rebuilt now. You may accept this Kainkaryam and complete the work at the earliest. Your disease will be cured on its own." As directed by the Acharyan, the king completed the task quite early. His disease got cured and he became healthy and stronger. He came to the Swami's Sannidhi and prostrated at his holy feet and informed that because of the blessings of Swami, he has been cured of the illness and now is stronger. Construction of steps, Sopanam, for Thirumalai. Once an elderly Brahmin wished to go on a pilgrimage to Thirumalai to have a darshan of Thiruvenkadamudayan. After going for a short distance, he could neither climb up the hill nor go down and was struggling. On noticing this, the ever-merciful Lord of the Seven Hills, Srinivasan, thought that if only there are steps built, the Bhaktas will be able to reach his Sannidhi, so they need not undergo such hardship. He directed Srimad Adivan Shatakopa Yadindra Mahadeshikan, deeply devoted to the Lord and with his many disciples, to construct the steps leading to the Thirumalai temple and also build resting halls to facilitate the pilgrims to take rest en route. Singar took the divine order with deep devotion. God constructed the steps and resting halls to the Thirumalai temple with the help of his Sishyas. He then climbed up through the newly constructed steps to reach Thirumalai and to offer his Mangala Shasanam to the Lord Thiruvenkadamudayan. At Thirumalai, the Jiya took his holy bath in Swami Pushkarini He completed his daily rituals and proceeded to offer his worship to Srinivasan. The Sannidhi personnel received Swami with temple harness and paraphernalia. Swami offered worship of Srinivasan from feet to head, partook the Tirtha Prasadam, etc. At that time, Lord Srinivasan directed, "O Jia, our dear Kavidarkika Simham Vedanta Desikan, constructed the steps to Paramapadam in the form of a Grantham, that is Paramapada Shopanam. Now you have constructed the steps to Trivengadam, which is sought by the people of the earth and even those of heavenly abode. I am pleased by your service. I shall grant moksham even to those to whom you have showered your spontaneous affection. You continue to render service in many Divya Deshams and be affectionate to everyone." Thus the Lord blessed the Ajia. The Ajia prayed telling, "Dhanyosmi, Anugrahitosmi." That is, "I am thankful to you, my Lord, for your blessings to me." His joy knew no bounds by the blessings of the Lord. He accepted the Seshavastram, clothes worn by the Lord, and other prasadams and paraphernalia and returned to the Matam. He stayed in Tirumala for a few days and was rendering discourses to his disciples. The construction of the steps to reach the Tirumala temple by Srimadh Adivan Shadakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan made it easier without much difficulty for people to have the darshan of Lord Srinivasan. On knowing this, thousands of the bhaktas from various Divya Deshams were going to Tirumala. Several Sri Vaishnavas from Kanchipuram also came to Tirumala and had darshan of the Lord. Later they visited the Matam of the Jiya and prostrated at his holy feet. Swami asked them as to from which Divya Desam they are coming from. They said they are from Perumal Koil, Perarulalan Sannadi. Swami asked them as to whether Thiruvaradhanam of Perarulalan and Perandevi Tayar are going on well, whether all the daily, monthly and annual Utsavams are being conducted without any discrepancy, and as to any special activities there. The Sri Vaishnavas replied saying that the Thiruvaradhanam and other Utsavams are being conducted without any compromise. They said there is no 100-pillared mandapam for conducting Utsavams. Therefore, on the direction of the Divya Dampatis, we have come here to appeal to Swami's Sannidhi with a request for the construction of the mandapam. We appeal to you to take up this Kainkaryam for the temple, as others will not be able to get this done. They requested the Jiya to come to this Divya Desham for the Mangala Shasanam of the Divya Dampatis. Swami told them that he will come to the Divya Desham, Perumal Koil, soon. Construction of 100-pillar mandapam in Kanchipuram. Srimad Adivan Shadakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan took leave of Trivengadamudiyan and travelled to Kanchipuram. The residents of the town welcomed Swami with Purna Kumbham and other temple honors from the temple. Ka is another name of Brahma. Brahma was worshipping the Lord at this place. Hence this place is popularly known as Kanchi. This town is said to increase the good deeds manifold. The Jiyar went to the temple to offer his worship to the Devadirajan, who was worshipped by Brahma. After he took a bath in the Anantasaras Pushkarini and completing his daily rituals, did his Mangala Shasanam to Perandevi Tayar. From there, he went to the Tirumalai. Lord Varadarajan Sannidhi is located atop of hillock named Attigiri and as Vedamalai, and paid his obeisance. After taking the permission of the Dwarapalakas, he went inside the Sannidhi. He had that divine darshan of the Lord Peruradan, granter of boons to those who seek them, from feet to head, Apata Chutam, and was extremely happy. He accepted Tirtham, Parivattam, Sri Shatari, and other honors, telling Dhanyosmi. At that time, Peruruladan gave his divine blessings to Srimad Adivan Shadakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan for the successful completion of the task of construction of the 100-pillared mandapam in a grand and aesthetic manner. The Jiya, receiving the divine command of the Lord, said, Dhanyosmi, thank you, my Lord. Anugrahitosmi, please bless me to be of service to you. And Dasosmi, I will be your servant. And took the command as one of primary importance and of highest priority. The Jiya took leave of Lord Varadarajan and came down from the Tirumalai Attigiri. The elder citizens of the town and the Archakas of the temple discussed and identified a location on the banks of the Anantasaras for the 100-pillared hall. The Jiya called one of his disciples, a wealthy and rich one, and asked him to construct the 100-pillared mandapam in that location. This disciple of Mahadeshikan piously said he will do so as per the command of the Acharyan. The work on the construction was started on an auspicious day. A spacious hall with beautiful sculptures and aesthetic design was constructed in due course. The mandapam was so beautiful in every aspect, it is fit to be praised by people of yesteryears, the current and future generations to look at, admire it, and telling as if it was designed and constructed by the Devatas. In recognition of the construction of the hall at the behest of the Jiya, the Sishya responsible for the work got sculpted the image of Sri Lakshmi Narasimhan in one of the pillars in the mandapam and the image of Srimad Adivan Shatakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan on the opposite pillar. The Divya Dampatis of the temple were brought in a procession to the grand hall and a special festival was organized by Swami. His joy knew no bounds. The residents of the Divya Desham were overjoyed by the glory, Mahaprabhavam of Mahadeshikan. Udaya Bhanu Mishra. Swami stayed for a few days in Perumal Koil, where Purvacharyas like Nadadur Ammal, Swami Deshikan, Katika Shatam Ammal, and others were rendering kalakshepams to their Shishyas. Thousands of Shishyas sought refuge under the holy feet of the Jiya. Hundreds of disciples were undergoing Vedanta kalakshepam under Swami. At that time, a Gauda Brahmin named Udaya Bhanu Mishra from northern parts of the country came to Kanchi. He was well learned in all Shastras. He was a very wealthy one. He was an Advaitian and doing Upadeshams on Advaita Vedantam to his Sishyas. He wished to have a debate with Srimad Adivan Shatakopa Jiya, who has been propagating the Visishtadvaita philosophy and the leading light of Sri Vaishnava Siddhantam. Swami accepted the challenge happily. They met each other. They took a vow in the presence of several scholars that in this debate, whoever loses, he has to become the disciple of the winner. In the midst of several scholars, the debate was on Samanya Shastras, Tarka, that is logic, Vyakarana, which is grammar. In a very few days, Swami could easily win against Udaya Bhanu Mishra. Then the debate on Vedanta Shastras went on for 11 days with no winner or loser, and both of them are on equal level. That night, Swami was worried and was so tired and retired to bed. Sri Lakshmi Narasimhan appeared in the dream of Swami and blessed him, saying that tomorrow he will be victorious. Swami Deshikan also appeared in the dream and told the Jiya, "You are trying to win with your own knowledge and skills. You refer to my Grantham, Satadushani, and present the views. You will win." Thus, after these two dreams, Swami woke up. He was happy. He immediately proceeded, took his bath, and completed all the daily rituals and Abhigamana Aradhanam. He took the blessings of the Lord and confidently marched to the debate hall. On seeing the approaching Swami, Udaya Bhanu Mishra was startled and scared. Swami started the debate after meditating on Sri Lakshmi Narasimhan and Swami Deshikan. Quoting with irrefutable points from Swami Deshikan Satadushani, the Jiya could easily win over Udaya Bhanu Mishra. Udaya Bhanu Mishra conceded the defeat and became the disciple of Adivan Shatakopa Yatindra Mahadeshikan. He had his Panchasamskaram performed by Swami. He gave away his entire wealth as Guru Dakshina. With that wealth, the Jiya consecrated a Sannadhi for Swami Deshikan, who blessed him in the dream in the Sannadhi of Devadi Rajan near the Dvajastambham, and another Sannadhi at Tupul, the Avadara Sthalam of Swami Deshikan. The Jiya stayed in this Divya Desham for a few days and was performing Mangala Shasanam of Devadi Rajan and Swami Deshikan and conducting Vedanta Kalakshepam to his disciples. Divya Desha Yatra. Mahadeshikan travelled to Tirumalai from Perumal Koil. He stayed in Tirumalai for a few days, offering Mangala Shasanam to the Lord Srinivasan. He then went to Loya Tirupati. There, after worshipping Govindaraja Perumal, he went to Tiruchanur, Alumelumangapuram, to worship Alumelumanga Tayar. From there he travelled to Sholasingapuram, that is Sholingapuram. The residents of Sholasingapuram accorded a grand reception to Swami with the Chhatrak Chamara, that is umbrella and fan, and other temple honors, and playing musical instruments. Swami took his bath in the Takankulam, that is the temple tank, and completed his daily rituals. Swami proceeded to the temple of Sri Nrsimhan, Bhaktodita Swami, and performed his Mangala Shasanam. Amidst the chanting of Arulapadu, that is sacred verses set to the tune wishing auspiciousness, he accepted all the temple honors. The Archakas and local residents requested Swami to accept the temple administration and requested the Jiya to take care of administration of the temple rituals in a grand manner. Mahadeshikan accepted the request. He stayed in the Divya Desham for a considerable time and was executing happily several Kainkaryams. Many of the Bhaktas were attending to Vedanta Kalakshepams under Swami. One of them, a highly reputed Swami, is the grandfather of Doddayacharya. He was a Shishya of the Jiya and an important person in the Kalakshepa Goshti. One day, the Jiya told him, Devarir is a resident of this Divya Desham. You have superior knowledge also. As you are being a highly respectful Pratipatti and deep devotion to us, want to hand over to you the temple administration duties. You will receive all the temple honors such as first Tirtham, etc. Doddayacharya Swami was reluctant and said, when Swami being the person to receive such honors, is Adiyan qualified for these honors? The Jiya replied, you are our favorite and a dear Sishya, and whatever honors are given to you, it will be considered as if they are offered to us and will be very satisfied. Therefore, accept this without refusing. Accordingly, Doddayacharya accepted the service as the temple administrator. From that day onwards, the descendants of Doddayacharya are given the first rights in this temple, and this is a well-known fact. Sri Shatakopa Jiya took leave of the Lord of the Divya Desham and proceeded to Sri Perumbudur. The residents of Sri Perumbudur welcomed Swami with the honors from Sri Bhashyakara's Sannidhi. Swami paid obeisance to Mudaliyandan. He then went to Bhashyakara's Sannidhi. There, Swami accepted the temple honors. Swami offered Mangala Shasanam to Udayavar. He accepted the Kashaya Vastram, Parivattam, Tirtha Prasadam, etc. amidst the chanting of Arulapadu. He stayed at Sri Perumbudur for a few more days. There he was conducting Sri Bhashya Kalakshepam to his Sishyas and concluded the Kalakshepam with Satrumurai.
Chaathurmaasya Sathsangamam Season 3 Acharya Vaibhavam. Next episode tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. in Sri APNSwami's YouTube channel.